Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen, and I've been doing a ton of readings lately because the energy has been like super climactic. So anyways, I'm just starting with the standard Radiant Wise Spirit. When I split the deck, I'm getting the Page of Wands and the Four of Swords. So it's like good news is coming in and maybe going to be the end of an era or the end of a situation, person, idea. But it looks like it's going to be triggered by some kind of good news. So that's good. I'm just going to pick a couple more and see if I get some overall energies for the reading. Interesting. So at the end, on the bottom, we got the World, which is kind of like the major arcana version of the Four of Swords. So it's like the end of an era. And what's interesting is that we get like kind of two opposites. We get the Ten of Pentacles, which is like abundance. It's like generational wealth. Like this is really solid, stable foundation to move forward. And then we got the opposite, where we got the Four of Pentacles, where someone's just like hoarding and hanging on to the one thing that they have, and like being super stingy because they don't want to let go of it, and so it's kind of like the opposite of the Ten of Pentacles. So it's interesting because we have this era that's ending, and then we have these kind of opposites, which is interesting. One thing that's been coming up in the readings leading up to this is that there's sort of like this truth coming out, and it's leading to this sort of like bifurcation of destinies. And I can't remember which reading that was, but I'll try to find it and link it up here, where like depending on how you align up with the truth and the way things are in the world right now, you're either going to be super prosperous and things are going to work out, or if you're like trying to hang on to the past, if you're trying to hang on to what you've got and like not let go and not accept things as they are and just trying to live in the past, well then that camp was going to actually have a really hard time. That came out in a reading really recently. So it kind of makes me think that like both of these, it's this end of this era, and then both of these outcomes are possible. So we'll see what the rest of the reading, what comes out for the rest of the reading, but it's very interesting. Okay, so Mystical Shaman, Oracle. Let's see what we get with this. This is like my favorite deck. It's it's kind of really spiritual. It's like, the Shaman Oracle. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. So this is really interesting because it kind of circles back to that same message. So at the bottom we have the sacrifice. The sacrifice is sort of like letting something that means a lot to you go, knowing that it's going to come back to you how it's meant to, and in the right time. But like, having to sacrifice something that means a lot to you in order for it to come back, but it's like karma. So like if your karma is good, like it'll come back to you good. And, so it's kind of like the opposite of this, so again, it speaks to the camp of people who have sort of like let go, trusted that things have changed, and sort of like come into alignment with their truth and sort of done all that inner work, And so what's coming out is the hummingbird and the corn. So this came out in a reading really recently, like, which I'll point to here. And it was talking about how like this truth was coming out and leading to the corn, which is abundance. And this is the hummingbird. So it's like the hummingbird is sort of like this dainty little bird, but it's like super fierce, and it like will defend its territory, which is interesting because there was a reading recently called Defending the Motherland. And it'll fiercely protect, you know, and it'll travel really far distances to meet its destiny, you know. So it's just almost like there is good karma coming back to this camp of people, you know. And again, like this was like reminding me of like the people of Ukraine, because they've fiercely defended their motherland, and it was really difficult, but they're like standing their ground against this bully. And actually that was a reading that came up recently too, like standing up to the bully. Like I'll put it up here. So it's almost like this reading is sort of like this like all these readings coming together in this sort of climax, you know. So anyways, I'm going to Intuitive Goddess Tarot to pick some more cards. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, yeah, so we have this conflict, and this has like literally come out in the last 3 readings, this exact same card. 10 of Swords, which this has come out in a bunch of readings recently too. The Ace of Cups. My mom's harassing me. 6 of Pentacles, and the Witch. So there's a conflict. There's this end, you know, like it's like the conflict is coming to an end. Like we're reaching the end, like, and it's like we have this one person who's manifesting. The Witch is like a manifester, and they're manifesting from their heart, you know, and they're creating something, you know, from that intention. And this manifestation might be like bringing things back into balance. So it's almost like there's one person who's like really like held on, wouldn't let go, didn't want to align with the truth, doesn't want to change. And there's like another camp that has just like been manifesting from their heart. You know, it's sort of like the Ukrainians, where they're just like, they believe in the cause and they're going to fight for it, you know, and they're going to fight for it from their heart, you know, and that's why they're bringing things back in balance, you know, against these crazy obstacles, you know, against this huge bully, because they care, you know, and that is powerful. So, oh my gosh, it's like there's like these recurring themes that are really coming out, and the energy is super strong, which is why I've been doing a bunch of readings, but they're all kind of like climaxing together. So I'll try to interlink them, you know, up here like I usually do, but yeah, like I said, it's intense. It's like this super climax. Okay, that one's been coming out a bunch recently too. Okay, all right, so we have Voyage. Going on a voyage. There's this full moon there, and I like how there's this like little baby whale that's coming, you know, like for the ride. It's like the whole fam is going, you know. We've got Taking Risks. It's like Spread Your Wings and Fly. And it's like the birds, which that's always a good message for me. And we have Going Forward. So it's like we're taking a risk. We're stepping out into the unknown. And that's kind of like this sacrifice. Like we don't really know what the outcome is going to be, and it's a little bit scary to step outside of your comfort zone, but this hummingbird is fierce and it's going to fight for it. and it's going to come back to them in a good way. So it's kind of like the Ukrainians. It's like they're just being fearless and they're just fighting for it, but it's gonna come back. Things are gonna start moving forward. It's like the conflict is coming to an end. So let's hope that's true, especially with the whole Ukraine crisis. So check in soon.